Actually, our small circle, so-called small circle Tai Chi form, is still too big for martial art application. Your movement a little too linear. So, in order to practicing preparation for martial artists, the small circle we are practicing, you have to increase the speed of your movement and also make the movement smaller. For example, you should increase your speed from normal. You talk about 8 minutes for the 108 form or 10 minutes, go down to 3 minutes. The 408 form. The movement also is smaller, and that is you are preparing for the martial art application.
One of the things I think I've heard you say is that as you get better and better at Tai Chi, that the forms get smaller, and that ultimately it disappears, that you can't quite teach it. The movement is no longer obvious.
It's too small, you cannot teach it.
And yet, you've also said that when it is that small, that there is tremendous engagement in the body.
Right, internal engagement. Your energy is changing, rotating in your body very rapidly. Because the linear motion, your energy is one direction going. But if you are the round form starting going faster and faster, your energy circulation is faster. There's no linear motion anymore. Yeah. Linear motion in fighting is opponent easy to pick up and continue your linear motion. Take advantage of your linear motion and destabilizing you. They can add to your linear motion and destabilize. You have linear motion, I give you more.
Right.
Same linear motion. So if the linear motion is getting smaller, shorter, and it's more mature rotational motion, opponents is more difficult to take advantage of it. So when you go into martial art fighting application, you have to be small and tight circles. Okay, not too much linear motion at all.
I wanted to ask you about a very basic question about the tongue. In the little reading I've done about Tai Chi, as I've told you, I've tried to avoid learning where this thing is going and have it be more experiential. But the idea of the tongue cleaving to the roof of the mouth while doing Tai Chi, you said something very interesting about the position of the tongue. Would you say something about that?
Yeah, just you touch the upper palate right behind the teeth. Okay, so you don't curl your tongue too much. You just straight up a little bit, touch.
And when we think of where the tongue goes, it goes straight down to the sphincter. You move the tongue, the sphincter can move at the same time. A tremendously important sense of our interiority. I'm wondering if the tongue it's almost the rising of your internal.
One piece from the inside, you mean?
Right. When I put my hands on your body, which I ask permission, I want you to feel the back of your hamstrings as they're connected into the buttocks, and then your inner thigh. They're like steel. I mean, not steel as in locked, but steel as in a vibrating life force, which is very interesting because many people, bigger than you, stronger than you, you touch them there, it's soft. and the inner thighs, not much action. That's all coming from your Tai Chi, because I don't see you doing no lifting and going to running at the gym.
Yeah. Actually, another person who does wrestling, and he said, what I really admire is your back. Your back is so strong. Actually, a lot of a moment relates to the back. The back is very important. The utilization of the abdomen, the core in the abdomen to the body, almost you have to simultaneously use the back with it. Just by abdomen itself, there's some use, but not broad enough. But if you the back, abdomen plus the back, then
I believe you have said, and I may have dreamed it up, but I think you've said that every part of the body is engaged and involved in every even the minor movements that you do. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, you are setting up your body for a movement. Every part of body does different things.
Right.
Some, I said, is non-moving, but they
very active.
Strengthen up, but not moving, just strengthening up. Okay, not moving. Then you have the moving part of the
You call that
body.
dynamics. What word do you use for that part? Dynamics.
Yin and yang.
And
Dynamic
solidification. Solidification, yes.
That part becomes really strong, solid. Then the other part can move using that as a foundation.
You also said that paying attention to what is not moving is oftentimes more difficult than what is moving.
Yes.
That's not commonly thought, I believe.
Yeah, not moving is sometimes much more difficult to achieve than moving. Yeah, people sometimes just move all over the place, without the control.
I'm not sure many people recognize that. I certainly did not until you get very specific about it. That juncture of yin and yang. That is, in fact, it's the essence of Tai Chi, no?
Right. Because you have to have the junction in the core part of your body. Then that's an internal move. If the junction is not in the core of the body, then it's an external move. Like a junction at the shoulder, that kind of thing. That's the external move.
What are the biggest mistakes people make when they're learning Tai Chi? Physical or emotional mistakes? Is there a common theme of what people run into as they get ahead too quickly without having the body, getting organized? Is that one of the problems?
Well, impatience probably is a big mistake.
It's a big.
Yeah, impatience.
Because we're looking to get to a goal without maybe plowing the field and planting
Right. To be able to set your yin and yang body correctly, and you start to rush ahead. But the yin and yang body are not setting correctly.
That simple phrase you said of setting correctly is a massive challenge.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge. I mean, we're ultimately paying the deepest level of attention to ourselves. In my little work, one of the things that I talk about is that it's not so important when we're talking about change and transformation, what you do. Or good ideas about what you should do.
Right.
All of the many good scientific and practical ideas. And it's not so important in terms of transformation to good ideas about what you shouldn't do. All of the good techniques to avoid doing X, because we're running into the millions of repetitions of the way we've always done it.
Right.
What I would suggest, the pathway to change is to begin to pay attention to what we do. And what we do is invisible to us because we've done it millions of times.
Right.
That's that random stuff that you're talking about when the body gets all random and one's not aware of it.
Yeah. In the garden, not just random, much more fuzzy or imprecise. Fuzzy movement are in fuzzy.
Fuzzy.
Imprecise.
You're being very serious when you say that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Sir, how is this thing going to continue without you here? I've been working with you, doing my best. It's not the best, but it's the best that I can do. And I'm less than halfway, my opinion. Form is coming along nicely, but that precise business that you're talking about, that's challenging. So how are we going to do it?
Well, at least we now have this online stuff. My YouTube video. Well, YouTube video is quite important, actually. There's some analysis in it, much deeper than I can write down in an online course. YouTube video plus online course. So if I can have some way keep those survive me, then the information is still there. Yeah.
Is there anything you feel that you have not, any area and direction that you feel you have not spoken about or touched on that you still want to?
Almost very few things left. Some from time to time add a few things, but the majority of things are said.
You have said.
Is said. And if people have seen it and know about it, that is enough material for them to develop the kind of Tai Chi it is about. That's enough material there.
You know, when I said to you about generous and caring and kind and non-judgmental and how you approach people and how people come to you and how you respond to them, I'm just thinking that that really translates to oneself. Being kind, being generous, being caring, being non-critical, non-judgmental of oneself. That's important. You know, one of the things I see, because when I work with people, people will say things like, oh, what an idiot I am, they made a mistake, or that. And I say to them, first of all, it's not allowed in my studio to put yourself down, because what am I doing here? And I will not be complicit. And also, I sometimes suggest to them, why don't you say that negative thing you said about yourself that you don't really believe, but you're just saying it casually? Say it to a child next to you, and then say, I'm only joking. It cuts. We have to be careful because I call it inner tyranny and internal sabotage by our negative ideas about ourselves. We have no defense against it. The body-mind has no defense. Part of it seems that Tai Chi and the model that you do is to cultivate a sweetness, a kindness, an internal kindness. Does that sound right to you?
Yes.